Yo, guys, Justin Jaynes with the 10-7, and we have an action-packed UFC coming up this weekend. That's UFC 320 with our co-main event being Merab Dvalishvili taking on Cory Sandhagen. And in our main event, we have our champion Ankalaev going against Pereira, number 2, guys. But before we get into that, let's talk about this incredible co-main event where, in my opinion, we have the greatest bantamweight of all time taking on a very tough and dynamic Cory Sandhagen. And before we get into this fight, before we get into my prediction, before we get into my breakdown, let's go over what both of these guys have done so far in the UFC. And I'm going to start with Cory Sandhagen, man. This guy is really something else. I'm a big fan of Cory Sandhagen. He's very fast. He's very dynamic. And this guy is as stubborn as they come. Here we go. Cory Sandhagen. Coming into this match, 18 wins and 5 losses. Currently, he's on a 1-fight win streak, standing 5'11" with a 70-inch reach, 33 years of age. And this will be, I believe, his first title shot. Cory comes into this fight, 8 wins by knockout, 0 losses by knockout, 3 wins by submission, has been submitted 1 time, 7 wins by decision, 4 losses by decision. So, guys, this guy is durable. Out of all his fights, he's only been finished 1 time by submission. Currently, he's 11-4 in the UFC, 2-1 in LFA, 11 big wins in the UFC. And let's take a look at when he started into the UFC. Back in 2018, comes onto the scene hot. 1, 2 finishes, 3 finishes in a row. Wins a split decision. Very tough vet of the sport, almost 40 fights going into this fight. Man, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then takes on our former champion, Aljamain Sterling, who's one of the best grapplers in the division. Very underestimated. I don't know why Aljamain gets so much hate, but Aljamain is just a dog. He's a teammate of mine. After that, wins 2 in a row in this beautiful wheel kick knockout, clipping Marlon in the top of the temple, knocking him out. And then very quickly after that, 30 seconds, takes out a legend, former UFC champion, Frankie Edgar. Fortunately, lost a couple after that. TJ Dillashaw, former champ. Peter Yan gets a performance tonight, but unfortunately loses. And, goes on another tear again. Yang Sedong, Marlon Vera again, split decision, Rob Font. And then, his loss over Umar Nurmagomedov, man. Like, Umar coming into this fight, 17-0, gets the win, but then loses to our champion. And again, Sandhagen only loses by decision. Takes on Davison Figueiredo, former champion, guys. Like, you look at all these names, we have former champions, we have undefeated fighters. Like, this guy has fought a who's who in the UFC. And, it's led up to this incredible matchup with Merab, and now we're going to look on to our champion, Merab, and what he's done in the UFC. And it's been nothing short of amazing here, guys. So moving on to Merab. Coming into this matchup, 20 wins, 4 losses. He's on a 13-fight win streak, guys. If that doesn't impress you, I don't know much what will. 5'6", 68-inch reach, 34 years of age. Vegas guy. I've trained with Merab, at Extreme Couture, but right now he's training out of Syndicate. 3 wins by KO, 0 wins by, he's never been knocked out, 2 wins by submission. This number right here kind of bores me a little bit. 15 big wins by submission, but it is what it is. He is our champion, and love him or hate him, the guy is a dog. 13-2 in the UFC. Makes his debut in the UFC back in 2000. Beats a couple of my teammates coming on. Gustavo Lopez, former collegiate wrestler, very tough. John Dodson, legend of the sport, another teammate of mine. Cody Stamen beats him by decision. Marlon Moraes, look at this. I mean, Marlon also fought Cory Sandhagen, loses a grappling match. And that's something I really love about Merab is he dabbles in other conquests or, during his career. He does sambo matches. He does grappling matches. Goes and beats Jose Aldo here, one of the best featherweights to ever grace the octagon. Peter Yan, again, he shoots on Peter Yan, I think 49 times in this fight. Takes on Olympic level wrestler Henry Cejudo. Takes on the UFC champion, beats him. Defends against a guy that's 18-0, who he was an underdog in this fight, beats him. Takes on, Sean O'Malley again, beats him even worse than he did the first time. now it's leading up to this Cory Sandhagen fight. Now, Merab, like I say, is on a 13-fight win streak in the UFC, and that is just so tough to do, to be able to put it together 13 times. And again, like I say, in my opinion, I think Merab is the greatest bantamweight of all time. And, you know, this is a really tough fight for Cory Sandhagen. Now, let's talk about Cory Sandhagen a minute. Cory Sandhagen is an incredible fighter. All right. Cory Sandhagen is very dynamic. He has incredible kicks. He has incredible movement. He'll go from southpaw. He'll go to orthodox. He'll transition back and forth. He'll spin. He has incredible knees. He has great timing. But unfortunately, I just don't think it's a good matchup for him. All right. I'm going to tell you why. Although he's dynamic and he can spin, going against a guy like Merab, I don't think it's a good idea to spin, because if Merab is pressing forward and Cory tries to spin, it could set Merab up to getting his back really easily. And not to mention, something that I've learned about watching Merab's fights leading up to this for my breakdown is he doesn't just dive in for shots. He sets all his wrestling up off his strikes, particularly his jab and particularly his right hand. So guys have to respect his punches, whether it's a jab or right hand. Merab typically throws that right hand and will dive under, but he doesn't dive under every time. Sometimes he'll just throw a jab cross and guys will go to feint, and then and that's how he's catching guys. And then when he gets guys on the back leg and they think that he's going to strike, that's when he's transitioning to wrestling. I think Merab is the best fighter in the history of the UFC to set his wrestling up off his strikes, not to mention his endless gas tank. He doesn't do this for 1 round. He doesn't do this for 2 rounds. He doesn't do this for 3 rounds. He does this for 5 rounds straight, and his output for wrestling is just insane. Going against Peter Yan, I think he had 49 shots or just something ridiculous like that. Jose Aldo, similar number. And to have that kind of output and that kind of gas tank, it's just unbeatable. And as dynamic as Cory Sandhagen is, you know, he throws a lot of shots coming up the middle, just like when he fought Frankie Edgar. He hit that beautiful knee. He has great teep kicks. He has great spinning attacks. But I don't think these weapons are going to play well against Merab. And I'm going to tell you why. When Merab does dive in for a shot off his right hand, he doesn't just throw his right hand and dive in for a shot. All right. When he's going with an orthodox fighter, he'll throw like a looping overhand or maybe a straight overhand, but he gets his head offline. All right. So when guys throw John Dodson, when I watched the John Dodson fight, John Dodson tried to time his shot with his lead knee. But when he threw the knee, so Merab threw the right hand, Dodson throws the lead knee, and the knee goes right by his head because Merab brings his head offline. So he'll go throw, but he'll move his head. So any of those strikes coming up the middle, he's essentially missing, and he's getting guys frustrated. Not to mention, to time that shot is going to be so hard. Now, I think Sandhagen is going to be looking for knees, and I think he's going to be looking for teep kicks to keep Merab off the wrestling. But the problem with this as well is if he throws a lazy teep kick and Merab gets a hold of it, to me, Merab is one of the best finishers at single legs in the UFC. When he gets on that leg, he is like a dog on a bone and will not let go of it until he gets the takedown. And if he does let go of it, he's going to be striking on his way in while his opponent is off balance. All right, when I looked at the odds, Sandhagen is plus 300. Merab is minus 390. I think the odds makers have it right. Although Sandhagen might be able to land a lucky knee or a lucky teep kick or a lucky strike coming up the middle, I think the odds makers have it right. My prediction in this fight, Merab is going to win a 5-round decision, either 50-45 or 49-46. Sandhagen's only hope in this fight is to get a lucky punch or a lucky kick or a lucky knee, guys. If Sandhagen does pull off the miraculous, feat here, man, I'm going to be happy for him. I'm a huge Cory Sandhagen fan, but I'm a bigger Merab fan, and I'm on the Merab train. I'm taking Merab by dominant decision here, guys. Tell me what you think in the comments.